don't create an opportunity to have remorse.
Mm.
Enjoy what you do. Create a reason to enjoy your time and enjoy what you're doing and be confident in what you're doing, and then love your new vehicle.
Mm. Don't create an opportunity for remorse. Wow. That's going to be a clip, I think. I think that's going to be a clip on this one.
From the front lines of retail automotive, this is the Hooks Playbook. Welcome to Changing Lanes with Kip Hooks.
Welcome to Changing Lanes, the Hooks Playbook. That's right. This is the podcast where we break down the car buying experience and everything you could think of about that. We're going to help you. We love to help the audience, especially because we've got Kip Hooks, navigate this whole experience with confidence. Today, we're tackling a belief that holds a lot of people back, actually. It's the idea that there's a perfect time to buy a car. You've probably heard it before. Wait until the end of the year, hold out for better incentives, or just give it a few more months. But the truth is, there's always a reason to wait. And that can leave people just stuck. You overthink. You delay a decision that might actually make better sense right now. So today we're going to dig into why perfect timing is really more of a myth, how to figure out when the right time to buy is for you. That's really important. Kip says this all the time. This is a want business, not a need business.
Yep.
So joining me as always, the top frog, Kip Hooks. Yep. Right there at Hooks Lincoln in Fort Worth, Texas, always bringing practical, real-world perspective on how customers can cut through the noise, how they can focus on what actually matters and make confident decisions when it comes to buying and servicing a vehicle. Kip, are you ready to get into this one?
I'm ready, Sean.
Born ready. Okay.
Born ready. I'm just talking.
Well, how about this? Where does this idea of perfect timing when buying a car, where does it come from?
Like you said in the intro, people always hear things about wait till the end of the year, end of the month, do it then, just wait. It's this how you can get a leg up. But I think that it comes from probably anxiety, or worried about if there's the best time because I'm going to, when can I save the most money? And again, you can't buy a price. You're buying a car. You want a good deal. There's always going to be a good value one way or the other. But I think it comes from those things where, everybody is the almost the FOMO, where somebody bought a car and then 2 months later, their neighbor bought a car and they got a better price, and this other person think, "Oh my God, well I should have waited," or the inverse of that, where somebody was going to wait to get a car, and then they found out that there was a deal, 2 months ago. I should have waited, and I should have done it then instead of waiting until now. So, there's always this misunderstanding and this. I guess urban legend that if you wait until some of these times that it'll be a better time than another, but it's not necessarily true.
Mm-hmm. I think that's a really important point because essentially people end up putting more weight on timing and like almost nothing else.
Yeah.
And it isn't just a timing thing. It's so much more than that.
Yeah.
So it's almost like I'm curious if you would agree. I think you would, but sometimes timing can be in your favor, but it is not the only thing and shouldn't be the main determining factor on when you are purchasing.
Not at all. Not at all. I mean, what do you want? And are you comfortable? Are you happy? Were you taken care of? Do you feel confident in the whole experience? I mean, and is this the car you want? There's so many things that go into that. Again, you can't buy a price. You want a good value. You want a good deal. Value is always a key word. Mm-hmm. But, when's the best deal? When am I going to try to get over on somebody? That's not how it works. I mean, people luck into those things, and the promise of people who do just preach that everywhere. If anybody that'll listen, because it creates havoc. It creates this uncertainty and, misery loves company. But I don't know why some people just like to see people spin out. And I don't know. And then it just gets in their head, and I don't know. It doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah. Yeah. It is an interesting dilemma for a lot of people. It's been a long time since I actually sold cars, many, many years ago. But I remember one of the things that would make people feel that urgency, that timing is like some huge incentive comes out.
Oh, yeah.
But what they don't realize is that oftentimes those incentives are tied to, you want to move a particular type of car. You want to move. And so we'd have people come in and be like, yeah, I want this amazing. And they feel this urgency of timing. And to what you say all the time, it's like, well, what do you want?
Yeah.
And the incentive may not be tied to what you want. And so you see far past the value of the whole experience and what you should be looking for, because you get fixated on something that shouldn't be the determining factor on whether or not you're buying a car at that particular moment.
Exactly.
So why do people get stuck when they're waiting for this like perfect time to buy?
It's situational, circumstantial for each individual person, because there's always a reason not to do something. So people can come up with a reason to wait, whether it's an interest rate or the inventory or, speculation about something. It's just, there's always a reason not to do it now until you're there. And then it's like, hey, what's the reason not to do it now? When I found the one I like, I feel like this is a good deal. So I think that the reason that people push things up, put this off, looking for that perfect time, is kind of back on the answer that we talked about on the previous conversation, which, it's the anxiety of what if, and what if I miss a deal? What if they announce something, tomorrow? Well, what if what we have now is better than what we have tomorrow? We don't know. And it's all situational anyway. I mean, you need cash for a cash purchase? Do you need a better rate because you're going to finance it? Do you need better lease incentives? So you never know what everything is. And the incentives may say that one way is better than the other, but that's not going to affect your timing. So don't find a reason to put it off. It's like working out. I can find every reason in the world not to work out or, do something like that. But find the reason why. I mean, how are you going to feel after you do it? Are you going to feel better do I feel better if I make myself go work out? Yeah, I do. I could find every reason not to, but hey, I found a reason to do it and I feel better for doing it. You know what? If I need to go get something taken care of and I go handle it, now I'm enjoying what the whole thing is instead of having all this anxiety about it.
If I could start a business demonstrating my expertise of finding reasons not to work out, I would be good at that. I'd be so good.
Yeah.
I'd be really good at that. Okay, so here's a question I think a lot of people would want to know your perspective on. Is there ever actually a perfect time to buy a car?
It depends. It depends on your perspective on that question.
Mm-hmm.
Generally, not really. There's always market conditions. There's always things that are going to change. It's, there's never, because you don't know what speaks to one person. Let's say, for example, we get 0% on something. Well, the people who want to borrow money, that says a lot to them. The people who are paying cash, they don't care. I mean, you could get free money. I don't want to mess with it. Okay. I mean, so it just depends on, what matters to the customer. And so in that respect, no, there's not really a perfect time, but when's it right for you? When it feels right, when you feel like you're in the right situation, you haven't found a vehicle that you want and you're comfortable with the value, you feel like you're getting a good value and you've had a good experience, then buy the car, because that's a perfect situation for you. Mm-hmm. You don't want to go pay less money and have a horrible experience. Then you hate people you dealt with. So, I mean, it's all situational.
Yeah. I think that's Such good advice. It's literally make your pros and cons list around these things. Timing may be one of them. It's not the only thing, certainly
Could
not
be.
the only thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it could be part of the equation. So it's like, what are the elements of your personal equation is what you're saying. And I think that's
Yeah.
so smart. That's the formula for figuring out when should I buy? And it might be right now. It might be like, why am I waiting?
Yeah.
Yeah. What are some of these more common myths about timing in the market in general?
Well, I mean, end of year, end of the month, that we're all desperate at the end of the month to make a deal. Those things that you hear about, they're not always true. Everything I'm doing is I've tried since I've been in this business to stop this slow start, big finish. I mean, the 1st and the 31st, they're just days. They're just calendar days. It doesn't matter, so all those myths they just add, are we busier at the end of the year? Yes. Yes. December is always a big month, and it always has been. But there's other months throughout the year that are traditionally, more busier than others. And that doesn't always hold true. We've seen a shift in that since COVID. And even before then, it didn't necessarily stay true to, overall time. So there's so many different myths about whether it's the end of year, end of month, wait till they're desperate, do this, do that. No, those are all myths. It comes down to every situation with the individual customer and trying to take care of what they need, what they want, and providing a good experience.
It's very interesting that you mentioned those myths. I've certainly heard them as a car buyer. Buy at the end of the year, buy at the end of the month, buy when the dealer's desperate. And it just dawned on me as we're having this conversation, that is such a terrible mind frame for a car buyer, because you're literally actually now going to dictate some of the relationship conditions that make it almost impossible for you to have the kind of relationship that your store is literally built to create. Right. Trust, transparency, grace, all of these attributes that make you guys outstanding and have for decades.
Yeah.
You get somebody who thinks, oh, I'm going to take advantage of the dealer because it's this particular time, when that's unlikely. But even if your mindset was, yeah, I'm going to be in the pole position here and like really stick it to the dealer. Like, why do you want to be that way? Do you think that that's going to be received in a way that it gives you ultimately a great experience? No.
Yeah.
So very interesting.
And it's very, again, back to the relationship of that foundation of what we do. How are we supposed to build a relationship who's trying to be one up us and to try to take advantage of a bad situation or put us in that or assume or whatever? That's not a relationship built on equal footing. Now, It's our job to overcome that and prove why we're here for you and to be a good advocate and to take care of their needs, help them with their wants and address their concerns, in an honest and transparent manner. And I've seen that knock down walls time and time and time again. And it's not because we're not trying to knock down walls. We're trying to build a relationship, and knocking down walls is on the path of building this relationship. So, but we overcome those things where, and some people just need to feel that way. They need to feel like they're in a power position. But I never want us to feel like, okay, they're going to hide the ball, so we're going to hide the ball. That's not going to end well. I mean, it could, but it's probably not. And we want to play the odds. We want to do the right thing for the right reason every time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, on the subject of timing, how, from your perspective, how can waiting too long actually hurt the buyer?
If you wait too long in the vehicle you're driving, you could end up having to pay for repairs. You could, prices go up prices, you could have a higher price when you get to market. You could miss an opportunity. Then I'm in more like an inventory opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
If you wanted that purple Navigator with white interior and they're not making them anymore and everybody has one's never going to let go of it, well, then you're not going to be able to get one.
Mm-hmm.
And those things happen. So
It's true.
There's a few things that could come from that.
Mm-hmm.
And again, if that doesn't bother somebody, then that's fine. But nobody really wants to go. If somebody makes a decision to go buy, I just can't fathom a situation where a person has decided they want to go get a new vehicle and they just kind of kick the can down the road and waiting on this or thinking there's going to be a perfect time or whatever that may be. And then they end up with repair costs or they end up missing that car they wanted. I don't know anybody that's going to be like, oh, well, most people are like, God dang it. I wish I would have gone ahead and done it.
Yeah.
And we don't want remorse. I mean, just again, there's not a perfect time. The perfect time is when it's right for you.
Yeah. Yeah. So true. Well, so what should people focus on instead of perfect timing?
That's a good one. Everything that matters to them, their personal situation, whether it's what they need, what they want, if they're ready, is there a budget situation? Are you waiting on some cash to put down? Are you waiting for something to happen? It's not, if it's those situations, then yeah, you need to think about those things. But overall, focus on what you want and what is right for you. If you have a good experience and and you found the vehicle that you like, love, want, whatever, and you've had a good experience in it and it's a good value and you feel comfortable with the deal, focus on those things. The perfect timing should be a result of everything else. Like we were saying, you can't really focus on like, I'm going to go buy a vehicle. I'm going to buy whatever they have at the perfect time. No, go get a vehicle and make sure that if the timing ends up being wrong for you for some reason, if you need to do, well, then okay, that maybe wasn't the right time, but that doesn't mean that you should wait and try to pick a perfect time. Focus on yourself, focus on what you need, what you want, and what you want to accomplish in the vehicle you want to get and getting a good experience.
Yeah. People need a lot less things to worry about
Yeah.
than how deeply they can immerse themselves in anxiety and when should I and all of that. And everything that you're sharing is focus on exactly how this works for you. That's going to dictate timing. That's going to dictate a lot of these things. So I want to ask you a little bit about that. When you're working with customers, when your team's working with customers, I'm guessing this comes up. And so how do you help your customers when they're trying to determine, I guess, their right time to buy?
It's, I guess when you get to know them, you build those relationships and you kind of advise. And, if you're talking about their lifestyle, their current vehicle condition, that can make a big difference. The financial situation, what they're in, and then we guide them from there, whether if they're in an unsafe vehicle, then yeah, it's our duty to tell them that, hey, this vehicle is unsafe and you really need to look at doing something, one way or the other. Or, whatever their situation may be, then we kind of, in those conversations, we help guide them to what's going to be right for them, whether and it may be that it's something down to the vehicle that they want is in transit from the factory right now. So it'll be a couple of days when it's here to be ready, and that's the day to get it. But this is your experience. This is the foundation of your experience. We started your experience now. So now we're being able to advise and guide them and help them determine in that situation that here it comes. When it's here, that'll be the day to take delivery.
Yeah, I know you and I have talked about so many different experiences and stories from your experience selling cars for decades. And I remember one of them that you shared with me where I won't make this a long story. I'll just say that ultimately what you were doing in helping the customer understand the right time to buy came down to trust. And you told this person because they sat across from you in your office and you said, that's when you should do business with us, when you trust me. If you don't trust us, then there's nowhere to go from there.
Nope.
But what has to be done to get to that point is all of the things that you do. So, and I think that's the reason why people so appreciate, doing business with you and then becoming these customers for life. Ultimately, we should probably even do an episode of what are the components of making these customers that say all these wonderful, glowing things about doing business with you guys. It's pretty remarkable. Let's talk a little bit about some of the things that come from Lincoln, from the manufacturers.
Yeah.
Interest rates, market conditions. How do these factors into timing?
Oh, they all matter. They shouldn't control anybody's decision entirely. There's always a deal, like we were saying earlier. There may always be an alternative structure for a deal that makes sense, whether it's cash or finance or lease or whatever it is. We can look at all of that stuff and present all the facts and figures so that to help make a better decision. But, there's always going to be conditions that may lead to it, whether, one vehicle line has been selling slow and they need to push this, then you may see a little more incentive on it. But that doesn't, we can't predict that. We can't say this is going to happen or they're going to do this or going to, and that's by design. And it really is the only way to do it, because otherwise you're going to get more confusion. So, yeah, there's always a way to look at and find the way a deal works within those market conditions and the situations that we have.
Mm-hmm. I love that you always talk about how this is a want, business, not a need business.
Right.
There are times when the customer is going to feel, and maybe not even recognize, that need is part of their equation. What would you say, the role that vehicle need versus want play in the timing for people?
Again, if your current vehicle is unreliable or unsafe or no longer fit your needs, then that's a pretty big reason to do something. That's a need. If your current vehicle is unsafe, then yes, you need to do something. Now, you need to get a new car. That doesn't mean that you need something here, but we want you to want something here. And that's what's going to be, that's our place, is to earn that. But any kind of an unsafe vehicle or something that no longer fits your needs, if you have a family that's outgrown the size of your car, that's going to be a stronger signal to do something than any market trend or trying to pick a perfect time, the perfect day to buy a car. Nobody wants to be miserable trying to pick that day, because it all evens out in the wash. So let's make sure you're happy.
That's good advice. Great advice. So how can dealerships try to be more like you? How can they be more like you when they're trying to think, well, not that you need to give other dealers advice, although I'm sure some of them lean in and figure out, well, what's Kip doing? How's he doing it?
Yeah.
How can dealers help reduce the timing anxiety that customers feel? Because dealers don't necessarily have any control when people are coming in feeling that way. So how do you help reduce that anxiety in people?
Being transparent. sharing information, educating customers with what's going on, help them feel like they're making an informed decision, presenting all the relevant variables that exist right now. Don't try to predict what's going to happen, because you're going to be wrong most of the time, and that's just going to put you off on a bad footing. So I think that the transparency, building trust, and making the experience so happy, such a successful, good experience now, that they're not going to have regrets later on. They're not going to look back and say, oh, what if, or if I'd have done this, or wait until then, or whatever. This should stand on its own as a great experience, and with no reason to be looking for reasons not to work out.
Mm-hmm. Curious to know if you don't mind, if you could share an example of someone who is waiting too long versus what we've been talking about, waiting too long or acting at the right time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I had a customer recently who, was trying to wait and figure it out, and what was going to be this. And it was toward the end of the month, and we didn't foresee it happening, but the incentives changed overnight, and the manufacturer kind of shifted gears, and she was upset that she missed out on the incentive that was available then. And it was for no other reason than just waiting too long. So, in her situation, it's not that the deal got worse. It's just that the focus is different than what she was looking into. We've seen customers that wait for the better deal and spend more time and effort and energy worried about that than actually going out and finding what they want, realizing what they want, having a good experience, because, that's what other people are doing. And so instead of focusing on the day, focus on the purpose of what you're doing, to get another car, and enjoy that experience, and don't find reasons not to, to throw doubt into the situation, because maybe you miss an incentive, but that's not the end of the world. There's going to be a reason to do it. There's going to still be good value. We're still going to take care of you. Everything that's within our control, we're still going to take care of for you. So we don't want you to miss anything. Then we don't want you to have the fear of what you may have missed out on. That's all. You can't control any of that. And there may always be a reason for that. So don't let that dictate what you're going to do. Go ahead and if you're comfortable and you're happy, just enjoy it, and then go enjoy your new car.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, prioritize around making sure that it's an enjoyable experience. What mindset shift would you recommend that customers need to make, that they need to think differently?
I would say, it's hard, but instead of having that mindset of we're going to get over on somebody, or I'm going to wait until I find out what the best deals are, or I'm going to wait till this, focus on the situation that you're in. And are you ready to buy a new car? Do you have time? Do you need one? Do you need to trade? Are you at the end of a lease? Are you driving an unsafe vehicle? Or do you just want a new car? Because I went in and I loved the car I saw. You know how many times that happens? People come in and had no plan on buying a car. They saw something that they loved, fell in love with, learned more about it. It was like, I'm buying a car right now. And have told me I had no intention of buying a car today. But you know what? That was the perfect day for them. That was the perfect time for them. They were here, they saw it, they liked it, and they got it, and they're super happy. Those people are never upset. They're always excited about the vehicle because they made that decision based on their current situation. They saw something that they liked, they fell in love with it, and they bought it.
Mm-hmm.
Happy.
Mm-hmm.
So, don't put the timing above the situation, the experience. That's the experience overrides the timing.
Mm-hmm. You made me think of my dad was a very unselfish person as far as cars went in the family. He always wanted my mom to be driving something that she loved, that she thought was like, that was super cool.
Yeah.
The one time, and this is burned into my memory because I was, I think, 7 years old. Ford hasn't redesigned and brought back the Bronco just one time. They've done it before. And in 1978, when they brought the Bronco back, my dad was watching Monday Night Football and an advertisement came on for the all-new Ford Bronco. It's the only vehicle decision I ever remember my dad making that was very spontaneous and very personal for him. And it was exactly what you're describing. He was not in market. He wasn't, but he could buy a Bronco if he wanted one. And literally the next day, he called the Ford dealership where my uncle, very small dealership, was the parts and service manager. And so he knew a lot of people at the store, and he special ordered a two-tone brown 1978 Ford Bronco XLT, Ranger XLT. And it was his pride and joy for a few years. He absolutely loved it. So all of what you're saying, people don't have to think that much to probably even have their own personal stories of when timing wasn't the only thing to fixate on. It's all these other things that you share and how you guys do business. Yeah. What's your last question I have for you on this episode? What would be maybe your biggest piece of advice, or maybe it doesn't have to be the biggest, but a really strong piece of advice for someone who is still unsure about timing?
Like we were saying just now, but I mean, if it makes sense, if that's what you've gone to do, don't put it off. If that's what you want, don't put it off. If it's time to do something, don't put it off. It just creates confusion and angst and uneasiness. If it makes sense, if the financial pieces are there, it makes sense, and you find what you want, it's the right time. Don't let this myth of buying at the perfect time, whether it's the end of a month, end of a year, or any other time. Don't let that dictate. People buy cars every day of the year. Mm-hmm. It just happens. I mean, people buy cars every day. That doesn't mean somebody got a bad deal, somebody got a good deal. It was a perfect day for somebody, a perfect night, or these people bought on the perfect time at the perfect time. Well, if that's the case, we'd be closed a lot of days of the month and then only open these days. Because if that was true, right? So that's not the case. People buy cars every day, and it was the perfect timing for them because it worked out. So if you find what you want, if you're ready to do it, if you're excited about do it, don't delay that. Do it. Yeah. It's the right time. It all evens out in the wash. Everything's going to be good. There's a good value every day. There's always a reason not to do something, but take the reason that there is to do something, enjoy it, and it's the perfect time for you. Don't wait, because you're never going to pick it. You're always going to, don't create an opportunity to have remorse. Enjoy what you do. Create a reason to enjoy your time and enjoy what you're doing and be confident in what you're doing, and then love your new vehicle.
Don't create an opportunity for remorse. Wow. That's going to be a clip, I think. I think that's going to be a clip on this one. Kip, always great talking to you. It's fantastic. People listen, if you're a customer of Hooks, jump in the comments. Tell us what your experiences are. We love hearing from you. Some of you have already dropped comments in here. We definitely appreciate that. As we wrap this episode today, here's the big takeaway. There's no such thing as a perfect time to buy the car, right? The perfect time, if anything, is when it's right for you, your personal situation. And Kip shared that over and over and over in this conversation. There will always be changes in the market. There will always be new incentives or reasons to wait. But at the end of the day, as they say, the right time to buy is when it makes sense for your life and your needs and your financial situation. It also is super helpful if you start at Hooks Lincoln and talk to Kip's team, because they'll make all of that stuff probably the best experience that you've ever had buying a car. Kip, thanks again. I always appreciate you helping break down all of this. Your expertise and the decades that your family's been in it is what makes these conversations insightful for people and for the audience. So appreciate that. To the listeners, to the viewers, if you've been waiting for the perfect moment, well, hopefully this conversation helps you shift your mindset a little bit, move forward with clarity and confidence so you can have a great car buying experience. If you found the episode helpful, share it with somebody. Definitely subscribe if you're on YouTube to the Changing Lanes podcast. Share it with somebody. We love it when you guys share this content, especially with somebody who might be stuck in that waiting mindset. Stay tuned, of course, because we'll always have more conversations like this one that help you navigate this car buying journey and understanding the dealership world in a way that you probably haven't before. So to you, the audience, thanks for listening and watching. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.